Netflix is spending billions of dollars just to engineer one simple behavior to make it impossible for us to stop watching. So I stole it. And this is the exact formula that allowed me to gamify my email consistency and email for years. And today I'll show you exactly how to do the same. The first component of the Netflix formula is the previously on, right? When you start watching a series and you play it and you have the previously on to recap what happened before. Most people think that essentially the idea is to just recap what happened before. But really, it's there to remind us of the previous open loops from the previous episodes that they're planning to resolve in this specific one. It sounds pretty similar, but let me show you. But Dennis, I only send emails when I feel motivated, even though I know I should send more, but nothing gives me external motivation. I didn't really care about sending email 8 and 9, but I do really want to send email number 10. I'm not sure really why. It is so late, but there's only 2 episodes left. I really want to watch both, but what should I do? Fuck it, I'll just watch both. You must remember this before I go. The only way to never run out of ideas to your emails is... Did you got it? The idea was never to remind what happened previously. The idea was to reopen the loops and to remind you what happened before. They use it to keep those moments fresh in our mind, reopen the loop again, and make us want the closure, right? It creates some sort of a psychological tension that we want to finish it, right? It starts, it's reopened, and now we have to finish and follow through to understand how it ends. And essentially, at the end of the episode, we feel super satisfied, right? We know where it started, and at the end, we feel super good about it. And next time you're watching a TV series, good luck, right? You'd be sitting in the previously on, and you'd know the exact episode, you'd know the plot immediately. So sorry for that. So how do we use the previously on to stay committed, gamify our experience, and actually make it more interesting for our readers to open and wait for our next emails? We're gonna implement some sort of a cliffhanger at the very end of our email, since recapping the email at the very beginning would probably not be the best idea for retention. So we do this by saying something like this at the very end. Tomorrow, I'm gonna show you the exact morning routine that helped me lose 8 kilograms of fat in 3 weeks without giving up on pizza. Not something like, hey, just tune in tomorrow and I'll show you how my morning routine. The idea is after you close the loop on the email itself for that particular email, reopen it with something completely different that you'll be talking about tomorrow. Because this way, your readers have a reason to come back to your list because the loop is already open. And after you make a public promise, you'll feel obligated to show up because breaking commitments to yourself is way easier than breaking commitments to other people. So the more people you have on your email list, the more people see your messages, the harder it will be for you to break your own word. Now, you don't have to rely just on motivation. You don't just need to wait to feel motivated to email. Now you have some guilt component in it, and this is not that strong on its own, and that's why the next component of the formula helps us find inner motivation when there is none. The second component is tricks. Peter Drucker famously said, "What gets measured gets managed." And this is why Netflix is excited to show you your progress on the show that you're watching. They've done a study and figured that providing this kind of information is not only looking nice and helping the user in some way, it actually does something a bit deeper for retention. At a certain percentage, approximately after episode 3, they figured that the users tend to finish the entire season, and by displaying this information and this data, it will increase the likelihood of them actually staying committed and finishing the entire season. Because after episode 3, the viewer is reaching a certain threshold, and just by displaying it, they're reassuring they'll keep on watching. Meaning, past that threshold, the motivation is not what keeps us going. Even when it's gone, we're still keeping on watching because we feel some sort of a commitment to it. For example, I've been uploading weekly videos on my channel for the past 6 months, and I was able to stay consistent and every single week upload a new episode and upload a new video. But last week, since I had to move, and when I tried to record, I accidentally just deleted my files and I could not really record and post this video. I had to wait for the next week. And honestly, just the idea of not uploading, of not continuing my streak felt devastated. Like I couldn't comprehend it. It was terrible. Or when I reached a 100 days streak on my daily email, it felt really hard to stop. Like I just could not imagine myself doing that. I was so committed. I was just sitting there and doing it. And when I finally broke it, it felt terrible again. Now, how do you implement sending streak to your schedule? Let's set it up. Open Google Sheets and on the very left column, call it days and add all the days between 1 and 31. On the next column, call it subject line, and every day that you're planning on sending email, type in the subject line of that email. Call the next column sent and add 31 checkboxes. Now, call the next column streak and beneath it, paste this command. Find it in the description. Basically what it does, it just counts the streaks of the emails you've planned. Meaning if you haven't typed in a subject line, it won't count the day as planned. So when you send the emails that you've been planning to send, it will count your streak. So every day, open it up and just click on the checkbox and this streak will grow. Do that long enough, feel the streak going, and you'll feel committed to it. And approximately after 30%, you'll just feel obligated to the process and it will be way harder to stop rather than just starting out. So we use the first principle to make sure we stay committed by committing to our list and feeling guilty. And the next thing, when we reach the 30% mark, we'll just feel more committed and obligated just by the fact we've kept our word and emailed when we said we'd do. And if you're thinking, great, but I don't really have an idea to what I can email to my list for 30 days, I got you covered. I put together my 30-day email planner for coaches who want to clean up their list, find out and discover exactly what you want to buy, and then run one precise sales promotion to those people in the pinned comment below, so check it out. Now, at some point, guilt and commitment alone will not really help us to stay consistent for a very long time. And this is where the next component of the formula and external motivators are coming into the picture. And this is exactly why shows don't have one season and 67 episodes. They usually have multiple seasons and 10 or 8 episodes in each. Because nobody really wants to watch 67 episodes for just one payoff. What we need is small wins along the way to keep us going. Because when the goal feels too far to reach, it stops really pulling us towards it. And Netflix understand it perfectly. This is why every season finale feel like a big win and a big thing, and a new season feels like a kind of fresh start. And this is why they're not making you chase one big payoff, they're giving you smaller ones along the way. So how do we implement this in our emails? First, what you want to do is to define the goal, meaning how many days you want to stay consistent, for how many days you want to email, right? And the idea right here is to give yourself an actual deadline, because you don't want to say, yeah, I'll just email forever, because then it just feels too hard. You want something that is a bit far, but still achievable. Ideally, 30 days. A month is a very good period of time. So plan the next month. Aim for 30 days of email consistency. Then we want to introduce milestones, small mini excitement and small payoffs along the way, meaning every few emails you will be rewarding yourself for staying consistent and keeping on emailing. And there are two types of rewards. The first one is being material, and you do that by just conditioning yourself. So if I send 10 emails, I unlock something that I like, right? It could be to go out, it could be to go to a trip, to buy something that you want, right? Something small that will just push you forward. The second form of rewards is recognition. You want a group of people, ideally the people that are in your space or maybe are doing the same thing, right? Emailing, to recognize your wins, to for you to just upload them and celebrate. Hey, see, I've sent 20 emails in a row, which is pretty cool, right? People want to celebrate it. And that also what keeps us going. And also it gives us an element of a little like commitment because when I post that, hey, I just hit 20 emails straight and I'm planning to hit 30, right? Then it just creates a small commitment towards the second goal. Basically, the main idea is to have one clear goal that you're striving towards, 30 days, the end of the month, and small mini benefits and mini payoffs and rewards along the way. And the final component of the formula is taking the reward system from the previous step and adding a psychological layer that will make it super hard for us to stop. Because tricks help us stay consistent and rewards help us to strive towards something. But the problem is what happens in between. Those are the days that the milestone feels like a bit out of reach and it's just reasonable to skip only one day, just a day. And this is where Netflix uses something that is called the too invested to quit element. And you probably know it by watching a TV series and getting to episode 7, right? If the series has 8 episodes and you get to episode 7, and you know that it's late today and you just need to watch one episode, but subconsciously, and maybe not subconsciously, maybe when you actually see it and you see that there's only 2 episodes left, you give yourself the permission to watch both of these, even though you know that you'll have consequences at the end. And it happens to me all the time. All the time when I see episode 7, I know that either I have to give myself more time or I want and I'll just sacrifice sleep the next day. Psychologists call it the sunk cost fallacy. We've invested so much time, effort, and energy that walking away feels worse than continuing, even when the consequences are obvious, even if it's just waking up exhausted the next day. But what makes it work so well on Netflix is not just the investment, it is the payoff. You're not just staying to watch one extra episode, you're watching the season finale, the culmination of what this series and this season was building towards. And all of the little steps that they've been building towards, Netflix know exactly where to place them. They understand exactly where viewers are most likely to stop, to just drop the series or maybe just watch tomorrow, right? They don't want those moments. They want to give you extra cliffhangers. They want to give you more interesting stuff that happens, and they sprinkle it throughout the season at a very strategical moments. And this will be the exact idea that we'll use for our emails and for the reward system. We'll be sprinkling the rewards whenever we will be feeling like we're about to stop. So instead of just placing the rewards every 10th email, which probably makes sense on paper, we're gonna add them to the moments we feel the worst. The very first few rewards should appear at the very beginning. You want to reward yourself for starting out because just sitting there and getting the emails out for the very first few times or for the very first few times that you've committed, it is the hardest. The next set of rewards, we want to place them approximately between 20 and 30% because that is the threshold that keeps us committed. After that, it would be way easier to continue because you've already committed. The next reward, place it approximately in the middle when novelty disappears and consistency starts to feel a bit repetitive and boring. And finally, place the reward close to the finish line, right? So when you reach that point, it will be when you'll feel the most exhausted, it will be the hardest point, but stopping there would feel just stupid. All of the effort that you put into it will just feel wasted. So the big goal and idea is the system would keep carrying you when motivation will just disappear. So basically the same 4 principles that Netflix is using to keep viewers watching and for retention can be used for gamification and keeping yourself consistent for doing stuff that you don't really enjoy, like sending emails. And not just by trying to implement fake discipline, by psychologically making it really hard to stop and addicting your brain to that process. So to quickly recap it, first, introduce cliffhangers and open loops at the end of the emails to keep yourself consistent and make sure your audience is coming back to read the next email. Second, track progress and make your streak visible. Third, introduce milestones and rewards that keep you chasing after the next goal. And finally, place those rewards where motivation is fading and you're about to quit. But there is one thing that is more important than all four combined. Netflix is not just relying on one show, one season, one cliffhanger. Every part of the platform is working together to keep you watching. And consistency is not a result of just one component. It's the result of building an environment where the next step feels like the next logical thing that they should do. Which raises then a second question. If Netflix can engineer something like this that keep viewers engaged and keep on coming back, how big companies do that to make sure their leads, their customers, and the people that know them are coming back to their stuff? And that is exactly what we'll explore in the next video, where I break down VOD's marketing strategy from the boy. So click somewhere on the screen and go watch that video next.